how I attracted the sexiest, most amazing men on earth, and how you yourself can attract a good man. And PL, my partner, suggested, you should do a podcast about how to attract a PL into your life. And we laughed about it because he said that just as a joke, but then I was like, no, that's actually an amazing freaking topic that a lot of my girlfriends could actually use. So let's go and dive into this. How to attract a good man into your life. I have 9 steps or 9 important bullet points that I really want to share with you. The first one is, first you have to believe they exist. If you think that all men are trash, but you're looking for the exception and you're looking for your husband and your king, but you are mistrustful of men and the masculine in general, and you keep perpetuating this hate against men, if you are so deep into being a feminist that you're actually turning against men and being in that war energy, this is not how you can bring in your king, your man, your husband, your beloved, your true love, soulmate, devoted kind of partnership. You know what I mean? Like, this is not how you do it. And if you think that all men are trash, this is literally what you're going to experience. And I'm sure you are familiar with this way of thinking because we hear it. But what does that actually mean? It's to go deep in your psyche and go deep into your conditioning and everything you've experienced in your life and do the healing that is needed so that you don't believe all men are trash or they're not to be trusted, where you can actually trust men and trust yourself to be in contact with good men, because there are tons of good men out there and you need to swap your perspective so you start to see them. What tends to happen, and that was my life for so long, I've been so hurt by men, but simultaneously I was loving them. So it's this weird dynamic where you want their attention and you love them, but at the same time you are distrustful of them and you think they're always gonna fuck up, and you're kind of like waiting for the moment that they're gonna fuck up because they always do. And you have those little sentences and little hidden criticism under the name of being funny or telling a joke, and your kind of joke is like, ha ha ha, they're just all like men, they just cannot do this or that, or they're way too like this or too like that. Be careful with what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you've been taught around the masculine and men especially. If you start to embody the belief that all men are good, they're just different, and maybe some of them are wounded for sure, and they're perpetrating some kind of hurt. Yes, sure, that happens too. But believe that good men exist and only allow good men into your space. And look out for this. We constantly going to prove ourselves what we believe in. So if you believe that they exist and they're amazing and that they are all around you, you're going to start to see them everywhere. I think it's step number 1. It's super important. And it's kind of basic, right? So let's move further and deeper into this journey. Second is still going to sound super fucking basic, but it's love yourself and live your best life as much as possible. So you're like, yeah, I've heard that a billion fucking times. I know I need to love myself before I can be loved by anyone else. Blah, 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 blah. I was sick and tired of hearing that as well. And I have a different perspective now. I think that it's super important that you love yourself and you're good with yourself. And I went on this whole celibate and single journey and marrying myself to be like, I'm so devoted and committed to myself. I needed this base and this foundation to know that I was not gonna go back to all of my codependency and only existing through relationship and only existing through a man or a woman for that matter, within the relationship. I needed that self-love, but you don't have to be fully healed. But most importantly, you have to live your best life as much as possible. What I mean by that is like doing the things that you profoundly love. when people are telling you, this is one of the worst pieces of advice for single people. They're telling you, you just have to put yourself out there and go out there and change your habits and just go to this dancing class or go to this place or, hang out with people and try to do new activities and stuff. I personally don't believe in that. I believe the more you live your best life doing what you already love doing the things that you're passionate about, that you love, you're in your bubble, you're minding your own business, you're not trying to change yourself. Because if you are in this phase of like calling in your man, your king, your soulmate, whatever, and you're already changing yourself, you're already betraying yourself and trying things in order to attract, you're already against you. And you cannot build a partnership based on that. And I've heard this sentence once and I kept repeating it to myself. But if it has to be the delivery man because you don't go out of your place, then so be it. It will come to you. If you are living your best life, if you are calling in this partnership and you're ready for it, you will find it. You don't have to go and find out and sign up for a new dancing class that you don't give a shit about, that you will never do if it wasn't. You don't have to go and hang out in bars if it's really not your vibe. Like, fuck that. Fuck that big time. The only places I was going outside my house, because I'm an online entrepreneur, right? So I was working from home and doing all of my rituals from home. But I was going to the gym and I was taking long walks on the beach. The beach is huge and usually there are not many people. So I was like, there is no fucking way I'm meeting someone. Because when I'm telling you I was going to the gym, I didn't tell you that I live in like the smallest town possible in France. And I was going between lunchtime. So they were like only a small group of people. And it was very like older, way older people. Not my vibe. And I was going with my dad. So the chances of meeting the love of my life at the gym was not like, oh, I was going in those super big popular gyms where you have a lot of singles and hot people because they're training and stuff. Not the vibe. The vibe was like old people going for at lunchtime with like 10 people max to the gym. Not the place. But guess where I met my partner? At the gym. So I didn't change a thing about myself and I'm so proud I didn't. So try to live your best life. Something that I loved when we met and what made this relationship amazing is because we both were at a place in our life where we loved what we were doing every day. We loved our daily life and we had some space for the longing of wanting to share this life with someone, but we were loving ourselves and being good with ourselves and we were not fully healed. We still had some stuff to heal, right? But we were feeling good enough. You also cannot attract anything. And even though we want to believe we are ready before we are because we're longing for this partnership, and this is another point that is coming later, but we want to think we're ready because we're in, there is this ache in our hearts because we really want this, because it feels so good and feels so lonely when we are single for a long time. And even if it's not for a long time, but there is this desire to share your life and to be in devotion and to know this portal of love and connection and devotion. And yes, so I really feel it. And sometimes we want to feel ready before we actually are, and we are lying to ourselves, and we know that we're still too weak to actually call that in. But simultaneously, there is also the false belief that you need to be 100% healed and so good with yourself. And, it's about balance. Find the sweet spot for you. Third point is to stop. Be the strong, independent woman. That is definitely not serving you, because you are still in that energy of like trying to prove that you're strong and independent and you don't need a man. And I went from hurting so much from a codependent relationship to swinging all the other way back to ultra independence. Like, I don't need anyone. I can do it all by myself. I'm strong big boss, badass energy. This is so repulsive to a man or to anyone for that matter, for real. You have no space, you know? Imagine what it feels like. Put yourself in the shoes of this masculine man that you're calling in, and you want this man to be the good man. You have an idea of how it feels like to be in his frequency. But imagine what kind of frequency you need to hold in order to be around a man like this. And I know for sure, I told you the story. We met at the gym, how we started to interact. I was stuck with a machine, I couldn't move the thing at the gym, and he offered his help. And because I've been working so much on opening and softening and being more in my feminine and allowing myself to receive and killing my strong, independent woman with love and grace and gratitude, because she served me and she served a purpose and I needed her for a long time. But if I hadn't do this work, I would have said to him, like, no, I'm good, thank you. But in this instance, I was like, yes, please help me. And that's how it started a conversation, and it turned into a little flirting, into a first date, and into the greatest love story of all time. So if I hadn't do this job, this is a really important point. This is the point that I would have completely missed him, and he would have been completely repulsed by my energy if I can do it, I don't need you. Because a man needs also the space to be there. And we should not confuse codependency and hyper independence and think that it's one or the other. You can find a middle. When you are with someone and you're building a life with someone, there are some interdependency, and it's normal to be able to rely on someone, to need someone into your life. And I think this is something we need to fucking chill about, because I tried so hard to be the strong, independent woman. Anyway, moving to point number 4, before I literally fall asleep on my laptop. Number 4 is honoring the longing. So I started to mention it, but my greatest advice and my biggest belief is that you can hold the desire and the longing. Stop pretending you don't need or don't want a man, or stop pretending that you're just dating and see what happens. Like, allow yourself to let the longing exist, the longing for partnership, the longing for a good man. Let this exist while simultaneously loving yourself, taking care of yourself. I think honoring the longing is super duper important. We've been brainwashed in this personal development industry of like, I know I need to feel good with myself and everything is a mirror, so I need to look in myself, blah, 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 me. Yes. From the starting point of like calling your king, you're already inviting someone else's energy. So you need to not only look at you and yourself, and yes, building the self-love and the self-relationship and being the love of your life for fucking sure. Simultaneously, it's really good to hold space for the longing. I've met so many women that they just don't honor the longing. They have the longing, they talk about the longing, but they don't want to recognize or to admit that it's there, and they're bullshitting themselves, basically. And I think that's a big block. When you own it, when you're like, yes, that's what I want. Because for the longest time, I felt like I was not allowed to want it, to even want it. I was almost ashamed of saying like, yeah, I want like union, partnership, monogamous long-term relationship. And don't be afraid to name it and to claim it. And I feel like things are flipping around now, and it's less shameful, and I think it's just a projection of my own experience. But I remember navigating through the conscious communities of Tulum and Playa del Carmen and in Mexico, and this is a special vibe where there is so much value to the freedom and going with the flow and polyamory and all that shit that we feel like we need to be the strong, independent woman, because we are like trying to be so conscious and spiritual and not be attached to someone else. And this is bullshit too. Honor the longing. Be proud of wanting that. I think it's super freaking cool. Point number 5 is to soften your heart. if you live through those walls using this bro energy, like, yeah, blah, 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 and being so hard and not allowing yourself to soften and to be vulnerable with a man, like, show him this good man that is waiting for you. He wants to see you. He wants to see you, not your facade, not the mask that you're putting on. He doesn't want to talk to the walls. And the more you're having those walls around your heart, he cannot get to you. He cannot see you. And this is also for yourself. It feels so much better. Yes, it feels more scary and vulnerable to live with an open heart. And it's a daily fucking practice to keep softening my heart. I tend to put those walls back in as soon as I feel threatened, or I'm afraid, or I'm triggered, or I put the walls back. The armor, almost the aggression, the aggressive protection of my heart. And then I need to soften and soften and soften and show my real heart. I read a book back then. I think it was Dear Lover from David Data, the author of The Way of a Superior Man as well. I read this book, and I think it's in this book that he talks about, even through your hurt, show your heart and don't harden through your hurt. And I remember back then I was in those dating phases, and I remember if I was so protective of my heart, no one could feel me, the real me. And it's hard to soften your heart. Also know that you're doing it for yourself, and you also get to have a protection around your heart. Not everyone gets to have access to your tender heart, but soften your heart for yourself. Learn how to really let go of those coping mechanisms and just be more real, more honest, more open and soft. Soft, really soft. There is an immense softness inside you, and I know you know it. I know that you know that you have this immense softness inside. This is not weakness. This is not too scary to live in. You really get to experience that for yourself, like your own softness and how it feels like, where you don't have to prove, you don't have to be funny, you don't have to be, in the bro energy or the strong independent woman or any of those archetypes. You don't have to be the huntress. You can just be the soft girl, like real softness. How can you practice that more and more and more and more daily? And that goes with this whole thing as a practice, especially if it doesn't necessarily come easily to you. Learn how to receive more, how to say thank you more, how to just say something soft and sweet and vulnerable more. The sixth point is be authentic. So that's a conversation I had with my partner as well when all of my friends were telling me about their dating experiences, and I was asking him his male opinion, and he was like, the sexiest thing for a woman is to be authentic. As soon as he felt in his dating life that a woman was like trying too hard or pretending they didn't care, or, kind of playing a role of like hard to get, or this was not attractive. And what was attractive to him, he said, and he's a very good, grounded, masculine, the kind of man you want in your life. I'm telling you, he's that kind of breed of amazing man. He told me, like, when a woman is really authentic and you can feel like she's real, it's so attractive because you also feel like you can trust her. And trust goes both ways. If you're mistrustful of the masculine, chances are you also give off this vibe of not being able to be trusted. So that's a whole other topic. So let's not get into that today, and let's stay on track. The seventh point is own your desires. It's kind of connected to honoring the longing, right? Honor your desires. What do you want in a relationship? Don't be afraid to claim it. Don't change your desires because the person you're meeting and you're having a little crush on desires something else. If this person wants to live this solo, super separated life, but you want a very close proximity kind of partnership, don't change what you want for this person. Honor what you want. What is it that you truly, truly want? Do you want kids? Do you not want kids? Do you want to travel with your partner? Do you want to, I don't know, grow a business with a partner? Do you want, like, whatever it is, own your desire and be super clear about what you want, and honor this, and really own it. Be proud of yourself. If you want to be the chosen one, if you want to be the only one in your man's life, fuck yeah. You don't have to be open-minded. You don't have to accept things that you don't want to accept. And that's something that I have to myself keep repeating myself, because, you know, I was not embodying that a few years ago. And one of my greatest mentor on that was actually my personal trainer, Valeria. I mentioned her in almost all of my podcasts because that thing really, really, really changed my life. When she was having a little conflict, they were having this little small funny fights with her partner, and I was single at the time, and she was always sharing, and it was always kind of cute and funny. It was not like big deal, big drama. It was like small drama. And one day she told me, you know, Lika, I'm a full-time woman and I want him to just want me. And the way she owned it so radically, I was like, yes, girl. And I've been so inspired by it because it has given me so much allowing to also own my desires. For the longest time, I felt like I had to pretend I wanted to be more open-minded than I actually wanted. And it was just so inspiring. And now it sounds so silly because, like, I own it too. Like, I want to be the chosen one. I want my man just for myself. I'm owning all of my desires. I'm owning everything. And it was not the case for the longest time. And sometimes I still meet my edge in this, and it feels good to reclaim it fully. What I really, really fucking want, and be unapologetic about it. Step number 8, skip the bullshit. Skip the, okay, well, what are you doing in life and what's up? And you're going to waste so much time. So talk about the important things right away. You don't want to find out like 4 months in when you're already attached to the guy. You know, if he wants to have kids or not, or if he wants to travel, or where he wants to live in the world, or I don't know, important topics, like if he wants to be in a long-term partnership like you want. All those questions should be at the forefront of the first conversation. It doesn't have to be a serious conversation, but you need to be able to find out real soon. Skip the bullshit also means stop being in the superficial things, talking about like what you did last night and where you go to school and blah, blah. Who gives a fuck? Go in the depth. Ask questions that helps you to see the person you have in front of you. This is something that I loved in the courting phase with PL in the early stages. Is our very first date, we went so deep into getting to know each other. No fluff, no bullshit, no, like, we skipped the small talk and we went right in, first date, into important topics, and every date after that was the same vibe. And I think that's something that I really, really loved and appreciated about the early stages of getting to know each other. That's why we fell in love really fast, and that's why we moved really fast. From an outside perspective, it looked fast, because we skipped the bullshit. We didn't waste time on the things that didn't matter. And finally, the 9th and last point that I want to share with you is actually from one of my favorite, most inspiring women in the space of dating and relationships and true love journey, which I also mentioned multiple times on this podcast. Ani Lala said, if he's not the one, he's practiced for the one. That's the last piece I want to share with you, because there is so much magic in you seeing every man that enter your life as practice for the one. Ani Lala says, if you meet someone, imagine that this person that you're dating or interacting with, even someone that holds the door for you, like every man in your life is either the one or practice for the one. And so imagine the person in front of you. Every night he goes and give a full report on how advanced you are on the journey of meeting him, right? So be in the practice. Like, how do you want to show up? I'm sure with the one, you don't want to be guarded. You don't want to be hard. You don't want to be judgmental. You don't want to be criticizing. You don't want to be all the things. And there are also so many things you want to be. You want to be of service. You want to be in devotion. You want to be loving. And so it doesn't mean don't have boundaries, right? You get to have boundaries, but just if he's not the one, he's practice for the one. What can you learn? How can you grow? How can you be more in love? How can you stay on your true love path? Expanding your heart capacity, your compassion, your love, your softness, your surrender to him. That's it for me today. And I'm going to go and rest because I'm telling you, this is so hard. This is so hard. This is one of those days. I'm going to go on a whole other tangent here, but I just want to share a little bit of the realness of real life happening behind the scenes. I've never felt more alone than in those two sphere areas of my life, which is entrepreneurship and postpartum. I just wish I had women that are also going through that and we get each other, because most of my friends right now, they either are moms but they are not entrepreneurs, or they are not moms and they're entrepreneurs, or they're, I don't have like mom entrepreneurs that are living this life and feeling the initiation the way I'm feeling it. And so if you have, or if you are yourself, please come and say hi. That's what I shared in my stories today. Please come and say hi, because I'm dying inside. So can we die inside together? It's really both beautiful and really challenging at the same time. So it's one of those days where I'm showing up because this conversation is too good to miss, but also I'm like exhausted and I'm dealing with a lot emotionally, spiritually, even physically. It's challenging. So, but I really wanted to show up today. Like, I would show up for my best friends. I would show up for my clients. So I'm showing up for you guys because you're the perfect mix between someone I'm coaching and a friend. So the perfect mix of tough love, tough coaching kind of style. But also because I want to believe that it's okay to show up in the real imperfect way of life. I've been dealing with a lot of extreme perfectionism lately, and I need to break the cycle. So I get to force myself to show up wearing no makeup, feeling so tired, haven't even taken care of myself. I haven't showered. I haven't done anything. I'm just so exhausted and so tired. But simultaneously, I was afraid to share that because I want to give you good energy and positive energy, and you don't want to hear me just being like, oh, I'm so tired, right? But also, I guess you want real fucking life. So here we are, embracing the full spectrum. And with that, we're closing this episode of Full Circle. I wish you a beautiful rest of your week, and hopefully next week I will have shitloads of energy and we're gonna talk about another fascinating topic. Also, let me know if there are oh my god, if there is a topic, or if you have some questions about a specific topic, please let me know so that I can create more content for you, more podcasts, more conversations. Wishing you a good time.